Hey everyone, Scott here, and today I've got another Fusion World replay video for you. We have a Broly mirror match coming up now, and I've selected this game to do a replay commentary of because I think it's quite indicative of what the Broly kind of mirror match is like, and it also, I think, has a good example of when you should or shouldn't take a hit that you can combo out of, kind of in the last two turns of the game. I think there's really good examples where both me and my opponent, well, I think I did it pretty well, but my opponent didn't. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to the second to last turn. In terms of this opening hand here, there's no source of ramp. There's two of these flight costs which aren't the best in terms of like their on-play ability. The KOing 4 or less tends not to come up so much against green. There's only really one good target to KO with this guy, so considering this as our opening hand, we decide to go ahead and ship it back, and our opponent does the same thing as well. In this game, we did end up going second, so we got the energy marker to help us get our big play down earlier than our opponent if we don't draw into the destructive strength, which we did there. So the plan is always, at least the way I play green decks, when you have the energy marker, is use a destructive strength turn 2 to turn it into an actual real energy I can use each turn. I think I've displayed that in a few of the previous videos. It seems to be working well for me so far, so I don't see any reason to kind of change that. We also went ahead and we charged the Gohan that I was talking about earlier that isn't so good in these matchups. We charged that turn 1 and we charged the Trunks turn 2 because similarly to the Gohan, there's not a lot of good targets for that Trunks to be able to attack into, so it's not the most important card for us to hold on to. The important card I find in a lot of the green matchups, especially against a opponent Broly leader, is the 8-cost Broly here. It's basically the one card that we have besides the secret rare that they can't get out of with a single super combo, and unlike the secret rare, you can actually attack with it twice in a single turn, so holding on to these here, even though we're sacrificing like a bit of combo power from our hand by not charging these and charging cards with actual combo power. I find that in these games, having more 8-cost Brolys than your opponent is generally how you end up winning them. It's been pretty standard so far. It's interesting to see the 1-drop Raditz from our opponent here. I don't think this is unjustifiable in terms of a card to include in the deck. I mean, it's not one that I run, but there's some merits to having this 1k, 1 cost rather, 15k attacker in certain matchups against, say, like yellow decks like Frieza maybe. Go ahead here and make a few mistakes here actually, so let me just pause there. So I remember when I was playing this, I just made mistake after mistake on this turn. So I accidentally skipped the charge phase, and then I awakened without attacking first. When I'm on, you know, our opponent didn't attack us with the Vegeta, so we couldn't awaken during their turn to get the energy from our life in active mode. Well, I mean, it would have come in rest mode, it would have passed turn to us, and then it would have been in active mode. When that happens, you should really attack with your leader first to draw the card, then awaken, because now that we've got the energy in rest mode, can't really use it for anything. So yeah, that was the mistake here, and then if I wasn't going to attack with my leader first, then I shouldn't have attacked with my leader at all this turn, but you see that we do go ahead and make that mistake again. So yeah, not the the best play from us, but in the end we did actually get to use the Gohan that I was talking about earlier not being that useful. It turns out we both saw some Vegetas early on curve basically, so I did end up playing him, and he's actually a pretty decent attacker against the Broly opponent. I mean, it's 30k, so it can go into the Awakened leader as well. In fact, I believe, if I remember correctly, they are going to play one now to KO our Vegeta here. Yeah. I held them back, I guess, to kind of keep my opponent back from being able to awaken. We go ahead and take the hit off that Gohan there. Just looking at what we had in our hand, we didn't actually have that much combo power, despite having quite a large hand. It's just got like some gigantic meteors we couldn't use and a lot of cards with 0 combo power. So at the time I was probably thinking it was a bit much to have to combo a few of these cards. I didn't really want to use the super combo just to, you know, go out of an attack that's only 5k above like what our leader is at the base. So debatable there. Maybe I should have defended myself against that hit. But we did have this Gohan here in our hand, which we're going to play now. So we do end up getting the energy back, but then I suppose it could have been on 4 energy rather than 3. Go ahead and try and clear their Gohan, which is the attacking threat. Probably here I should have comboed something from my hand just so couldn't well, I would have had to combo 10k, which would be probably 2 cards from hand or a super combo. So yeah, maybe it wasn't the worst choice not to combo on this attack. I suppose actually thinking about it as well, if I'd comboed 5k on this one, it just would have used the Raditz, and then maybe it could have, if I'd comboed on this one, we would have got another card out of their hand, or we might have been able to clear the Gohan. But we didn't end up doing that, so let's see what happens here. The one thing that, with us awakening so early on our opponent, we kind of kept them from awakening. They're drawing a card each turn, and I'm not, because I don't have the Goku down, so I'm not really using the leader skill to draw a card, because that would put us further away from being able to actually play our Brolys, and especially with me making the mistake earlier on, we're kind of 1 energy back from what we kind of should be in terms of like a curve. So yeah, they're definitely, I mean, I was going to say they're definitely ahead in terms of hand advantage, but looking at it, we've actually managed to hold on onto a few more cards than our opponent even has here, which is interesting. I think it might have been the other way around, but go ahead and drop our secret rare here. They've got the 2 5 costs on board. This is the turn that I probably, if not this turn, then next turn, I want to start going into my opponent. So leaving the Goku on board is not a good thing for me to be doing in this case. Also get rid of the attacking threat in the 5 cost Gohan. So I do ultimately think it's worth playing the secret rare here, even though we're against the green player, so we know next turn that there's a pretty good chance they're gonna hit us with an 8 cost Broly to KO the secret rare before we actually get to attack with it. But in terms of what it gets off the board, I felt this was like a risk worth taking. It's debatable here as to whether I should have kept the 1 energy up for a gigantic meteor just to be a bit safer on the defensive side of things, but go ahead and I hit my opponent down to 5. Again, just delaying their awakening. They haven't seen Asparagus at all so far, so it seems like they're not actually running it in their list. We'll go ahead here and we see what I was pretty sure was going to happen even during the game. Did end up happening. They KO our secret rare. I'm not going to try and save the Gohan here. It would have been quite difficult for me to save it just in terms of what I have. I could just about have saved it, but then he would have had another attack with the Broly, and I wouldn't have been able to save it on the second attack. So yeah, just let it go and hit their Broly with our Broly. And now that we're up on 9 energy, I can go ahead and use the leader skill to draw some cards. It's a bit awkward to have to play your big play before attacking with your leader, but just with the way the Broly skill interacts with things like the 8 drop, if you're going to make one big play, you kind of need to do it before swinging with your leader. So it's a bit awkward, but our opponent's down to where they can awaken now. And with the Broly on board, it really does behoove them to kind of get out of these earlier attacks. It's a lot easier for them to defend against 30k than it is against 45k, although you see they did it here with just a single gigantic meteor. Go ahead and get the Goku off the board, just to put it into kind of the range where if they were to use another gigantic meteor, they'd have to use another card from their hand as well. So yeah, we put our opponent down to 2 life, and we're also on 2 life, and we're getting to the point of the game that the thing I was saying before about when to take hits and when not to take hits, if you can combo out of them. I believe this coming turn is where we do it better than our opponent, I think. They go ahead, they play the other 8-cost Broly they've been holding on to, and they KO our Broly. There's no reason for them not to. They do basically the same thing we did last turn. They play your big card and then attack with your leader. With them having the double strike Broly here, we have to get out of the leader swing. There's literally no point us taking this damage here. If we can get out of it, it's like I was saying before, it's easier to defend yourself against 30k or even 35k as they've comboed up to here than it is to defend yourself against 45k. So yeah, we're able to just use 2 cards from our hand to get out of that. And so we'll see here, they attack in with the Broly. They decide to forego attacking into my Gohan to try and clear this, which is debatable as to whether or not they should have done this. Might have worked out better for them in the long run with how the game turned out, but I suppose they were going for lethal. So here, I don't think there's ever a reason to take this hit. Our opponents, I believe, yeah, they go up to 50k, the same way we did on our last turn. We went up to 50k on the attack. Again, it puts us in the position where a single gigantic meteor on its own is not enough, so it's gigantic meteor and something else. Luckily, we have the Android 18 here that is just the 5k we need to get out of it. But yeah, there's no reason for me to take the hit here, because now if I take this hit here, the second attack from the Broly is now presenting lethal, so my opponent is going to just dump their whole hand basically, and then it comes down to just, is my entire hand have more combo power than your entire hand, and especially when they start with a 20k advantage because they're attacking him with a 45k body. For instance, since we can see what our opponent has in their hand, if we take this hit here, we're just straight up dead with these 2 gigantic meteors. We have 1 that we can use, and a couple of 10ks and 2 5ks as well, so there's just no way we can get out of it, even just what they have in hand now. So yeah, there's never a reason for us to take this first hit here when we can get out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and use the gigantic meteor and the Android 18, and it means that we can take the second hit off the Broly and still live. Like, our opponent's showing 3 energy up here, but I'm not expecting for them to have like a real serious attacking threat for only 3 energy. I mean, pretty much the best one they could have played would be the Raditz that we saw earlier, like the 1-cost 15k. And if they were to play it after attacking with the Broly the second time, we probably can get out of that one. Again, maybe if they had it in hand and they played it and then dumped 2 gigantic meteors on it, we would have lost the game there, but you can't necessarily predict 100% how many copies of certain cards your opponent may have seen by now, but the fact that they've only used a single gigantic meteor so far, they haven't used a super combo so far, it's probably likely, just even without being able to actually see what they have in their hand, it's pretty likely that they are going to have a fair amount of combo power in their hand. So yeah, they potentially could have had a follow-up play that would have still won them the game, potentially, but that wouldn't have been a good enough reason for me to take the hit off the first Broly attack. So we'll see here. They attack in the second time with the Broly, they combo up again, and we just take the hit, and it, luckily they don't have anything they can kind of play to go for lethal there. They just didn't have anything anything 3 or less to actually play onto the board. So we'll go ahead here and we will Broly there, Broly. Basically do the same thing we've both been doing for the last few turns, which is play the Broly and then use the leader skill to draw a card. We draw into a super combo here as well. So we're going to go in with the 30k on our leader and the 30k Gohan. Basically our opponent has to, similar to what I was saying last turn, where my opponent was attacking with their leader at 30k, or 30, they attacked at 35k last turn, didn't they? But basically it's going to be a lot easier for them to defend against these two. But we'll do them first just to get cards out of their hand for when we do go in with the Broly. They go ahead, they use 2 cards from the hand, so they literally just have the 2 gigantic meteors and the super combo on defense. Our opponent here, they probably do feel pretty safe with the fact they have 2 gigantic meteors and a super combo, and they can actually play both the gigantic meteors. This is like 25, 50, 90? No, 70. Yeah, 70. What was I? Yeah. I was way off with that one, but yeah. So they got 70k in their hand now. They can very easily get out of this hit, but we'll see here that they do just... I mean, we got to 50, so they would have had to use a gigantic meteor and the super combo, but even then, I think they should have done that, because now, when I'm attacking with the Broly here, this is going in for lethal, and there's no reason... Well, I say there's no reason for me not to dump my whole hand on it. If I was feeling like I could potentially defend myself with what I had in my hand pretty well, then maybe I might not have gone all in on this attack, but in the end I do go all in, because just sitting here on 1 life, I only really had like 1 gigantic meteor, 1 super combo. We haven't seen any super combos from them. They could be sitting on quite a few. Maybe that's more reason for me not to go all in on this attack. But I do, and in the end we will see that our opponent can only get up to, I believe, is it 100k, whereas we're at 110. So we basically won this game off the fact that they took a hit unnecessarily when we were presenting basically lethal on board. They should have got out of that first hit. We only had 1 energy up at the end there. So unless we were going to try and play the little 5k Goku and attack him with that we were showing them 2 45k attacks on the board, and they took the first one when they didn't need to, and that ultimately, like I say, I think that I think is a good example of why you shouldn't take a hit if you can get out of it when there's lethal on the board. It's something I've just kind of built up over so many years of playing Masters, where I've, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say I've never made that mistake myself. I've made it plenty of times, which is just why I've learned from experience not to do it in Fusion World now. So yeah, that's it for this video. You can go ahead and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. You can also subscribe and leave a like. Those both really help me out. And be sure to check back on the channel for more of these replay videos.